anyone could start a site like this, publish hundreds of pages, and your traffic would go up and up and up, making more money. You get to a point where suddenly Google decides for some reason it just doesn't like you anymore. This is a brand new strategy we've been introducing, and it's just mad. There are no shortcuts. It turns out there are. This is a magic bullet, but the best one so far wasn't even ranking. We put through, and suddenly it ranks number 2. I'd like a pound of whatever is being smoked there, please. There's a decade-old Google algorithm that handles this kind of nonsense. The fact is, all these people pushing back at me, I always think, have you ever actually looked at a Google result before? When it comes to exact match domains, people always have questions. It doesn't have to be the perfect keyword. £10,000, $15,000. But if I just put in a dash, then I can get it for $. The effect is the same. Thank you very much. So, my big question for you here is, what if it were possible to rank number 1 on Google with just a single page? Not just one single page of content, but a single page of ChatGPT content. So in today's session, we're going to be discussing exactly that. Why small sites are able to beat giants. I'm talking about Fortune 500, big websites, hundreds of pages, and yet a tiny local website with a single page of ChatGPT content can totally dominate them. And it all comes down to that domain, and we'll discuss that next. Then, once you've got this power, this unfair advantage, you'll notice you need to do a lot less work. $200 of basic foundation links is all that's required a lot of the time to actually make these websites rank. Now, if you're able to rank a site like this, then it's very easy. If you've ranked a law firm in a location, you can then reach out to the law firms in that location and say, I've already done this work. If you want, for a small retainer, I can do it for you too. We can get around that big issue of agency growth, which is all about trust. If you can build these relationships, you've proven you can already do the work. We're also going to be discussing one of my latest revelations just from the last 2 weeks, which is the clickbomb strategy, which forces sites onto page 1 of Google in less than 24 hours. But first, a little bit about me. I'm Stuart Vickers, known as SEO Jesus from YouTube. That's basically because I was a heavy metal fan who started sharing my YouTube case studies, and there was a bit of an uncanny resemblance. But I'm known to Google as the best SEO in the world. And if you search my name on the People Also Are snippet, it says, why is Stuart Vickers the best SEO in the world? And the reason for that is I was able to manipulate keyword tools like Ahrefs into saying there are 6,000 searches a month for why is Stuart Vickers the best SEO in the world. And of course, this is complete nonsense. This was just me playing around with tools and manipulating the algorithms. But the result of that was actually there are now hundreds of pages on Google saying, why is Stuart Vickers the best SEO in the world? Because all these content teams, all these AI scrapers, they're going into their keyword tools, they're searching for SEO topics to write about, and it turns out there's 6,000 searches a month for why is Stuart Vickers the best SEO in the world. They want some of what they think is real traffic, and therefore they write content about me. Even better is actually the images. All these blogs require their headers, so every week I'm checking in, seeing all these hilarious images coming up as the headers for these blog posts. Some of them just stealing images from my social media, others of them really not looking much like me at all. No facial hair, no long hair. So that's always amusing. I'm also an agency owner. We've grown to 7 figures. We help brands around the world scale globally with a mix of SEO, link building, keyword research. Got a wide range of different industries, e-commerce, services, and we serve clients all over the world. But most well known for my SEO Jesus YouTube channel, so if nothing else, do be sure to check in there before the end of the day. But I started off as an affiliate. This wonderful market that we had a few years ago where anyone could start a blog, write loads of product reviews, best X product or best X for Y, rank hundreds of pages, and do a decent income that way. At this point in August 2021, I'd got a really good system going of buying expired domains, old domain names that already had all this power and backlinks, and rebuilding them, adding in this new content to an old domain, and leveraging that previous authority. And at this point, I was addicted. So I bought about 3, 4, it was basically 10 grand's worth of expired domains, and I came up with this clever somewhat high-risk financial strategy of putting it on an interest-free credit card and leaving it for 2 years so I could worry about it later. But of course, as many of us experienced, the problem with this model was we had a great time for many years where anyone could start a site like this, publish hundreds of pages, and your traffic would go up and up and up, making more money largely passively. But of course, as many of us experienced, even before a lot of recent Google updates, you get to a point where suddenly Google decides for some reason it just doesn't like you anymore. This particular case, I bought the domain name of the International Journal of Dental Clinics, and I wrote hundreds of pages of content around clear aligners, invisible braces, and it was going great. I even paid an actual dentist to review all my content for me and have their profile on the actual website. And yet, around summer 2022, site was completely destroyed. Google decided it didn't like it anymore. And this was before everyone experienced Google's helpful content update. That was September 23. And even March last year, 24, again, another one of these updates that just shows us that Google really doesn't like these publishers anymore. So instead, what I want to think about today is this quote by William of Ockham. You might have heard of Occam's razor. And that is, it is futile to do with more what can be done with fewer. In this case, I want to share with you one of my websites. This is what we call an exact match domain, where the keywords you're targeting are in the actual .com. It doesn't even have to be a .com, but get those keywords you're targeting in the domain. Now, in this case, this site only gets around 400 visitors a month. But notice the traffic value. That's if you're using paid ads with Google, that's an estimate of how much that traffic, how much those keywords would cost if you were using paid ads. So just those 400 clicks a month would cost more than $6,000. And as you can see, this is in the personal injury space. This is hailed as one of the most profitable, most competitive niches in SEO. And yet you can see 400 visitors a month, $6,000 in traffic value, the domain rating, so how powerful that website is based on its backlinks, based on how much power that website actually has, is 0.3. We've only got 51 backlinks pointing at this website, and most of them aren't even that good. This site has only had $200 spent on it in the backlinks, and yet it literally ranks 1 for injury law. Injury law leads are, of course, very valuable. Ideally, with this process, I like to reach out to business owners and try to negotiate profitable partnerships. But worst case scenario, you've also got what are called pay-per-call networks. So it's like an affiliate program. You can sign up with one of these places, and they've already done the work. They've already got all these business owners who want to buy leads off their advertisers. So in this case, I can sign up to someone like forlegalleads.com, and we can see for auto accident injury, the niche I was in, that I'm ranking 1 for, $450 to $1,500 per lead. So an extremely valuable niche. Those 400 visitors, extremely valuable. But let's think about the old way of doing SEO, that still many people make this mistake. They still have this idea they should be publishing hundreds of pages of what we call info content at the top of the funnel, in the hope that someone asking these kinds of questions might someday potentially be interested in buying from you. So this is an insurance client I had, and we got them some great success early on. They were in the home insurance space, and the great thing about home insurance is there's a world of different keywords out there, different types of buildings, different types of people, different locations, loads of different situations. So with a few simple blog posts, we were able to rank very well, because the big players, they weren't targeting those kinds of niches. But then we tried to do the same for pet insurance. And pet insurance is much more simple. In terms of keywords, you basically got pet insurance, cat insurance, dog insurance, multiple pet insurance, and that's pretty much it. There aren't a lot of keywords out there, and they're all very competitive. So I said to this client, we really can't do the content strategy here. We need to focus on the backlinks. It's going to be far better for you to just rank well for these profitable keywords rather than trying to go elsewhere. But they'd seen this great success with pure content and no backlinks. So they said, no, we don't want to do backlinks. We just want to do more content. I said, okay, well, we're trying with pet insurance and cat insurance. That's not really getting anywhere. The best thing we can do right now is to go higher up in the sales funnel and start targeting these so-called info keywords, just any questions that pet owners might be asking, so that we might be in the hope of selling them some pet insurance. So we wrote all these different articles around, can you give dogs painkillers? Can dogs eat prawn crackers? And we ranked well. We're number one for all of them. And their traffic went through the roof. You can see here, massive traffic spike from around middle of 2021 onwards. Trouble is, it didn't convert. No matter how much we tried to brute force it, let's get more content, more traffic. No one here who's asking, can their dog eat onions or not, is actually interested in pet insurance. They're not at that stage in the buying cycle yet. So actually, for all this traffic, this client was making far more money, actually right back where the graph was much smaller, around 2020. Revenue did not increase, even if the actual traffic went through the roof 10 times. So in terms of this exact match domain strategy, where we're talking about transactional intent, so find the keyword that actually converts, that's actually product-based. It's someone searching for that product, no negotiation, no messing around. And we're doing this through these exact domains where the keyword is in the domain name. Because Google is always looking for relevance, and you cannot get more relevant than a business, or at least a website, that is named the keyword that you're trying to rank for. And I get loads of pushback on this. People saying, exact match domains don't work anymore. Google fixed this, patched it 10, 15 years ago. So I've done this talk previous times. Here's guys saying, I'd like a pound of whatever is being smoked there, please. There's a decade-old Google algorithm that handles this kind of nonsense. Or similarly, exact match domains were handled, reduced a decade ago. Benefits may be due, blah, blah, blah. The fact is, all these people pushing back at me, I always think, have you ever actually looked at a Google result before? In this case, if I just search emergency dentist NYC, really good keyword, 1,800 searches per month, extremely high CPC, and obviously anyone looking for an emergency dentist NYC is probably going to sign up for an emergency dentist in New York City. Extremely valuable niche, high transactional intent. That's not someone who's researching, that is someone who's prepared to actually buy right now because they've obviously done something wrong. They need a dentist now. And yet, emergencydentistnyc.com, domain rating of just 5, and it's at number 1. I first discovered this site about a year or two ago, and it's still there. Real businesses are using this strategy, largely unintentionally. They're not black hat, they're just being smart. They are signaling to Google, they're telling the machine, this is what we do, this is what we serve, and they're being rewarded for it. And just the other day I checked, does this work elsewhere? What about maybe Hong Kong? If I search car accident lawyer in Hong Kong, I couldn't find an exact match domain, but there's something very similar. We can see HongKongLegalService.com, domain rating of just 1, and yet it's the number 2 result for car accident lawyer in the Hong Kong area. So when it comes to exact match domains, people always have questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? And the fact is, you can relax. It doesn't have to be the perfect keyword. We're talking about intent here. Google is clever enough to understand how different keywords can mean the same thing. So we're really talking about entities and topics and search intent rather than just exactly what's in your domain name. So if you want to put a dash in, that's fine because the pure match isn't available, that's fine. If you want to do .net, .org, that's also fine. You can also add modifiers like bestyourkeyword.com, also fine. The only thing I would limit is don't try and force it. So if I went for lots of dashes and some strange top-level domain, I can't find my keyword .xyz, lots of dashes, that's probably where it's going too far, and it's a bit obvious you're doing this manipulation. Now, this all started for me when I read a book on domain investing, and it was basically a very manual process of going through to try and find domain names for contractors or services. And then, once he bought them, as long as they had some volume and some CPC, cost per click, some transactional intent, he'd then do cold email and take this $10 domain and try and flip it for $400, $500. And I thought, that's great, I want to do this. But as soon as I registered all these domains, I realized, why would I flip these? If my skill is in SEO and getting traffic, I can turn these into much more valuable websites. So I want to hold on to some of that upside for myself. But like I say, I mechanize the process. This is how you do it. He was using various free keyword tools, going through manually, trying to find the search volume, the CPC, whereas I'm just going in bulk, going into Ahrefs, picking a service, picking a location, sorting by CPC, sorting by keyword difficulty, and I'll be able to scrape a whole load of different keywords that have high profitable potential. Then I just Google for an online space remover, this one from Mini Web Tool. It just takes out all the spaces. And then I go to name.com/names, where I'm able to check instantly which of these are available for $10 and which of these are currently taken, and the owner wants $2,000, $10,000, whatever it is. And it is shocking the discrepancy you can see between some of the domains that are available that mean the exact same thing as a really valuable domain. So here's an example I did just earlier this week. I do have a list of these that I've scraped ready to give away to you later on in the presentation. But this particular example, saltlakeCityRoofing.com, is currently £10,000, $15,000. But if I just put in a dash, then I can get it for $10. And again, the effect is the same. And this is why I say you don't need to be too worried about trying to find that perfect domain with lots of dashes and different .net, .org, etc. There's so much opportunity out there already. You can easily find these great domains. Now, when it comes to the content, when I first got my first batch of exact match domains, the issue was I just didn't actually execute. I bought all domains, and every year I had this painful reminder that I hadn't actually done anything with that project yet, which I think is quite familiar for most of us. But when ChatGPT came out, I went to my team and said, let's put an optimized page of content on every one of these domains. Because as we know, time is a massive ranking factor with Google. If you're able to get that content on the domain, you start the clock. It's like a fine wine aging in the basement. And if we come back in 6 months, 12 months, and again, we've forgotten, we haven't got round to it yet, well, if we've got content on the page, then the chances are some of those websites are actually going to be ranking. Now, this is V1 of my one-page website method, where it's literally just a wall of text. But it worked. It was fantastic. It doesn't happen every time, but you'll typically find around 20 to 30% of those domains are ranking with no further work, no backlinks. And that means once you've found these winners, Google is very likely to reward you. If Google likes that domain, then anything else you do, backlinks, any other investment you make, is going to work so much better because you're just compounding these existing results. That example I gave you, Pet Insurance NI, it's number 2 on Google, domain rating of 1, still getting traffic, and you can see just a wall of text. We don't need to worry about design. All those clients you have to deal with who are always saying, we need to represent our brand, we want a nice web design. That's fine, but this really proves to them that's not really an SEO issue. We absolutely can rank a single page, and we can rank a single wall of text with very little actual human readability, design optimization. But that was the old method. I soon found out that with my Namecheap hosting, they've now integrated with a plugin called Extendify, and it's basically an AI website builder. So you can just go through, give it a simple prompt about what you want your website to be, what service you're offering, and it will then build that really nice layout for you. So we don't even need to worry about that wall of text anymore. It now takes me 7 minutes to actually build a really good-looking website. After that, we go into a correlational tool like Surfer SEO. And what we're doing here is most of the businesses we're competing with, if they know anything about SEO, they're still probably using old, outdated SEO advice, which is write 500 words and use the keyword a few times. But we can do better than that. Google tells us exactly what it wants to see on a website because we have the top 10. Take your keyword, look at what's ranking, and you can work out the exact recipe to rank. And that's what tools like Surfer SEO actually automate, because it looks at your top 10 competitors and comes up with all this data on how they actually perform. And all we need to do now is actually copy all those recommendations, put it into ChatGPT, and then we're able to create a really good article that is in line with all those top recommendations. And again, less than 7 minutes to produce the nice, beautiful website with AI and then put the surfer SEO filler text, that we can just bury at the bottom. So we're pleasing the algorithm, but we're also pleasing humans at the same time and optimizing for conversions. Then we use a tool called Omega Indexer. A lot of us have probably noticed lately that Google's got extremely stingy with actually crawling and indexing. And who can blame it? Because Google's being spammed by so many pages of AI content. So we need to get Google to actually pay attention to us. Otherwise, it's not going to discover our website. Any backlinks we build, loads of people are still building backlinks and not actually indexing them. So that was always a priority for our agency, to make sure Google actually knows about these backlinks we've built. And Omega, so far, has been one of the more reliable indexes, where it only takes a day, you submit your URL. It's really made for indexing thousands of backlinks, but in our case, we just want to get our website indexed. So most of the students who take my one-page website course, they have this amazing moment of realization. They follow the steps, they get the domain, they put the AI content on it, they submit it to Omega, and then within a day, they find they're on page 1, page 2 of Google. Then we need to do some backlinks. Now, of course, you can spend whatever you like on backlinks, either from going to Fiverr and spending $20, or going to an agency and spending $500. Obviously, huge spectrum, big difference in different kinds of backlinks, but initially, we're taking this venture capital model. At the moment, we're still testing. I'll normally do about 10 of these domains at once if I'm going into a niche, and like I said, only maybe 20, 30% of those are going to perform. But if they're already performing with no work, then the chances are, if we make a bit of an effort, we can get some great results for that domain. So if they are starting to rank, they're getting indexed for various keywords, then we go up a level. We give them a budget of $200. And one of the first things I do is I go into wherever you want, really. I go to Legit, and I pay $40 to get 150 citations. These are basically listings in local business directories. And people typically think about this in terms of the map pack and ranking on Google Maps for local SEO. But the fact is, even without that, we don't touch the map pack with this process. You're still actually verifying that you're a real business by getting your name, address, and phone number indexed and recognized by the algorithm on 150 websites. And many of these are going to link to you as well. So by no means the best or most powerful backlinks in the world, but you're getting 150 of them for $40. So there's still plenty of benefit there. And again, a press release, you can spend anything from $50 to $1,000 on getting your news, your announcement, published across all these different news websites. This is really powerful because you've actually got a contextually relevant page of content that's going onto a powerful news website. It's talking about your brand, it's linking to your brand. But again, we're trying to control cost here. And for me, a revelation there was AB Newswire, because previously, I was spending $50 per press release each time, even though I was doing volume and buying in bulk. Then I discovered with AB Newswire, if you just go up a level, they keep changing prices, but if you get, I think it's their quarterly subscription, it's about $300. They're a bit unclear about how many press releases you actually get, but in the terms and conditions, you can find it. It works out at $7 per press release. So it's not obvious, you have to buy one of the bulk packages, but once you've got that, you have the credit pack, it is $7 per press release for 400 news websites. Then we use the Whisper Backlink Exchange. This is a WordPress plugin that basically installs a directory page on your website and allows you to actually swap and exchange backlinks with every other user of the plugin who also has a directory on their website. So you appear in their directories and they appear in your directories. There is a matching algorithm to actually keep all those sites relevant. They've got lots of anti-spam measures in place. But at the end of the day, you also get a blacklist feature. So you can go through your dashboard and say, yep, I want that one, that one, that one, but I don't want to swap with that one, and that one. So whether you want 4 backlinks or 40 backlinks, you've got full flexibility there. And again, it's a simple WordPress plugin, not expensive at all. Then finally, this is a brand new strategy we've been introducing for this method, and it's just mad. I heard about it actually at Mads' Saigon event in March, and someone told me about it, and I thought, that sounds great, but I've already got a million things to test. I'm sure it works a bit, like everything with SEO, but nothing's really a magic bullet. There are no shortcuts. But then when I finally tested it 3 weeks ago, it turns out there are. This is a magic bullet. The clickbomb strategy Basically involves sending 5,000 social media referrals to your website. It basically looks like a viral traffic surge through a social media redirect. And you do it with paid ads. You send 5,000 clicks within an hour, but it all looks like it's coming from a viral tweet or a viral Facebook post, something like that. And what it does is it forces all your keywords onto page 1 of Google. It's only temporary, it only lasts about a week or so, and it doesn't even work with keywords. It's basically, you put in your URL, and any keyword that URL is actually ranking for is going to surge to the top. So we tested this with one of my insurance clients. They were targeting tenant insurance, which gets 15,000 searches a month. The cost per click, every click is worth $5. And with this clickbomb strategy, they rocketed up from position 27 to position 11 overnight. Next day, same thing, renters insurance, 6,000 searches a month. They were right down at position 77, and they rocketed up to position 15. So again, only temporary, it doesn't replace the fundamentals, but if you're in a valuable niche and you just want to get out of feeling stuck, if you're stuck on page 2 and you basically want to rent some traffic for a bit, this can give you a really good boost. And if you're in the right niche, that traffic is worth it to you, then you can just repeat the process each week. We've done the same for an online casino. They were at position 15 and 27, depending on whether you're looking at on desktop or mobile, targeting the US. Started off 15, 27. After the click bomb, you can see, surged up to nearly 2,000 visitors, ranking literally on page 1. And online casinos especially, that's the kind of space where you can just repeat this method every week and keep on topping it up. But the best one so far has actually been a Reddit thread. We've talked a lot about Reddit marketing at this conference. It's a great source for ChatGPT answers, but also you can publish a Reddit thread and rank on page 1 for really competitive, high-volume keywords literally overnight. But what I found has been the biggest lever in terms of getting a Reddit thread higher up. It has been the click bomb. In this case, we had a client, their keyword got searched 500,000 times a month. Now you can see in this example, this Reddit thread initially wasn't even ranking. It wasn't in the top 100. That's why it says start, there's nothing there. There is no ranking. We put the click bomb through, and suddenly it ranked number 2. Now, because there was so much volume going on there, it did die off very quickly. So then we did it again, and it rocketed up again. So really clear turnaround in terms of you do the click bomb, you rank really well. When it dies off, just repeat the process. It really minimizes the actual cost to rank with Reddit. Some testimonials there. Same thing, people saying this can't work. Same as I thought, this seems too easy. It must be a scam, must be a trick. But actually, it's wonderful having customers coming back going, actually, that thing you said worked. It really does work. So it ranks your pages higher in just hours. No more of this stuck on page 2. In our case, we found this has been really useful for agencies because you can offer an instant ranking boost to clients. So if you're struggling to get someone over the line, it's normally a trust issue. Now, like I said, this is a temporary strategy. It's not true SEO. It's a temporary fix. But what it does do is it proves you can deliver on what you say you're going to deliver. So if a client is struggling to fully trust you, you can just say, we're going to do this process. We'll give you a guaranteed ranking boost tomorrow. As long as they're in the top 30, they'll probably be on page 1 tomorrow. And once they've seen that, you've proven yourself, they're much more likely to come on board for a full retainer. And it works great for upsells as well. You know those clients who have just been a bit stuck, it's getting to around 6 to 12 months in, maybe they're losing some confidence, and you're thinking, what can we deliver them just as a bit of a morale boost? Instant ranking results, that's a great chance to either retain or to upsell. Now, in terms of the one-page website method, there is always this concern about the map pack. If we're doing these local search terms, doesn't all the traffic go to the map pack? Well, the great thing about this is a lot of these one-page websites, because we've got the domain name, we're basically trying to trick Google into thinking the website is actually the brand, or the keyword is the brand. So someone searching for a car accident attorney in my target location, Google thinks they actually mean my company, my website, not just any car accident attorney in that location. And for that reason, it is possible to actually flip Google so that your website actually outranks the map pack. And it's really amazing when that happens. It's amazing to see. But it's happened multiple times. I've got Loft Conversions Teddington. That's a very wealthy area of West London. Again, outranks the map pack, domain rating of 0.3. But of course, there's always this concern that everyone in this market, certainly for me on YouTube, we're always chasing this passive income dream. So for me in the one-page website method, I'm always telling these people that to perform on YouTube, I really have to say how to make $3,000 to $5,000 per month passively, so you can quit your day job, move to Bali, have a nice life. But the truth is that I'm always telling everyone is active income beats passive income. Active income is significantly better than passive income. Chasing this passive income dream, it's very easy to find yourself as one of those victims of something like the helpful content update, like I was as an affiliate, where it might be working great now, but is it really going to be working in a year or two's time? So I'm still a really big fan of agency services. If you have the skill to actually make a one-page website work, if you do make your 5 to 10K per month through your passive income scheme, whatever it is, affiliate marketing, one-page websites, lead gen, you have extremely valuable skills for clients. And if you can get those clients on board, then that gives you a much bigger opportunity. In my case, I gave up on the whole 5 to 10K a month dream very rapidly because I realized, okay, this isn't going to last forever. I want to make as much as I can in the next 5 to 10 years so that I don't even need to think about money and working again in 5 to 10 years' time. And I still firmly believe that agency services are the way to do that. You can still have your passive income projects on the side, but their real value is actually winning trust with clients. So in this case, I say, if you've reached out to a local service provider to sell them leads through your one-page website, then they're in a prime position to actually upsell and take you up on more opportunities once you've won that trust. And one of my favorite services for that is actually Google Map rankings. With local SEO, you've got far less competition generally, but also you've got really high margin. Loads of agencies struggle with margin, and they end up getting squeezed to 10, 20, 30%, and it just becomes a nightmare. But with a local SEO agency, I've seen multiple examples of this, where people are running at an 80% margin. And that's because you can basically use a series of automated tools to actually do it. So this is a case study from SEO Neo. Now, I say we don't touch the map pack because Google business profiles, they're really difficult to verify if you're not an actual business owner. But if you're already selling leads to a local business owner and you've won that trust, you've won that partnership, you can then easily upsell them and say, by the way, I can also take over your Google business profile for you, run a few simple tools on it, and then you can run that 80% margin and charge something like $1,000 per month. This is just one example I found. Loads of these local SEO agencies out there, very simple productized services where for $500 to $1,000 per month, you can do some valuable but still quite simple work for business owners and deliver a lot of value. So in this case, same thing. Local SEO management for $500 to $1,000 per month. It should be a no-brainer to most business owners, as long as they actually trust you. And they'll trust you if you're already ranking for their service and location with your one-page website. So that was SEO Neo I mentioned earlier. Then we've also got Agency Assassin. This is a tool that basically sends driving directions to the Google business profile to make it look like that Google business is actually really popular. So basically, you put in your location, you put in your exact URL, put in your keywords, and it will make it look like there's lots of traffic driving to that location, which provides a really nice ranking boost. Again, it's not an instant turnaround, it's not a magic bullet, but the fact is it compounds everything you're already doing. Localo, I'm a big fan of as well. We know that reviews are a major ranking factor for local SEO, but responding to reviews is also a factor. And that's what most local business owners simply aren't doing. Whereas with Localo, they've got this very simple one-click AI response where you can have a VA for your $500 to $1,000 a month service where once a week they go through and one-click AI reply to all those reviews. Very simple to build these kinds of services that deliver a lot of value without costing you margin. They can still be highly profitable. Now, this is a perfect example. I'm now working with an insurance broker. Most of my background is insurance. Most of my one-page websites are in insurance. Now, it's been a long nurturing process with this person, but basically we're partnering up to build some actual insurance brands using this process. Because basically any niche, any location, any product, he can basically build the back end to actually fulfill that service. But again, very quickly turned around and said, do you happen to build websites as well? because our website's old, it was built by someone in-house. And again, how many people are out there trying to sell web design services, SEO services? Business owners are being spammed, cold emailed all day around. We all know the feeling, don't we? That we explain what we do, and the business owner looks at us quite weary-eyed and said, I get hundreds of you guys every week trying to pitch me. But as soon as you've got that trust, as soon as you can demonstrate, I already have a website in your location, in your niche, and I'm willing to work with you on a commission-only basis. I take all the risk. You have nothing but upside. That's your foot in the door. That's when there's all this opportunity to actually grow with them and offer them so much more. So you can skip that whole trust-building exercise. So in this case, working on selling insurance leads on the commission-only basis, but that's then turning into, can you rebuild our whole website for us? So really valuable upsell opportunities. And for that reason, I think one of my biggest regrets about our world, digital marketing, SEO, it's very easy to get quite isolated just working from home on your own. Whereas with this, I always thought, I live in London, I had this insurance background, part of me thought I was going to be in the city every day, going to nice clubs, going to nice pubs for lunch, in a suit, having business meetings. And I kind of felt like I kind of quit that life and missed out on that. And yet, with this insurance broker contact, we're now regularly having meetings at the Ned, a very nice members club in London. Not a big commitment on my part, but just from a quality of life standpoint, it's been nice to step out of just the algorithm, stepping out of just working from home at a desk, and working on what's more like a real business with real people and having meetings in a nice location without taking a huge amount of my time. And for that reason, I'm even getting registered with the UK Financial Conduct Authority. There's always this, how can I put it, a shady reputation with doing lead gen, with doing these kinds of websites. The point is, you've got to go through the right hoops. But in my case, once you're willing to have those conversations and get on the phone with a business owner, whatever those barriers to entry are, they can normally speed your way through that. So in my case, my company is being approved by the UK Financial Conduct Authority, so that I'm actually regulated, I'm authorized to sell insurance. So that's how we're taking this strange new SEO niche of one-page websites, and it's actually enabling me to build something much more like a proper business. And many people fear and turn away from this kind of barriers to entry and regulation. But the fact is, that is your moat. If you're able to get any licenses, any approvals that your competitors can't, you're in a much stronger position because it's just barriers to entry. You're able to build these relationships, get these authorizations. You then have something much more like a real business. That's going to save you a lot in terms of the AI replacement that we all fear, or the end of SEO, commodification, all these headwinds we see. All of this gets you closer to a real bricks and mortar business, even though what we're still fundamentally doing is just SEO. Now, with that, I promised you earlier that while I was doing research for this talk, I wanted to see what is the market like right now? Are there still all these domain names available? So I did some scraping, I followed my process, and I found 1,000 high-value .com domains, mostly targeting the US. You can see here, decent volume for all of them, decent cost per click for all of them, and I'm going to give them all away for you today. But they are going to be, of course, limited. There's a fair amount of you in the room. There's 1,000 of them available, but you can see we're sorted by the cost per click, the value of that traffic. So I'd urge you, take action fast, because you never know when these are going to get snapped up by someone who could be right next to you. And all you need to do is scan the QR code. You'll get my full ebook on the one-page websites method, the complete step-by process to achieve everything I've told you about today, but you'll also get that spreadsheet. I know Google Docs isn't great here, so it is an actual spreadsheet, a simple download, and it'll be sent to you via email. So 1,000 .com domain names targeting high-value services in the US. You can see exactly how this method works. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Any questions?
Hi, Stuart. Thank you so much. Very interesting. Did you ever see the one-page website strategy being used to boost sales for e-commerce?
Yeah, totally. So I get loads of actual business owners reaching out to me saying, can I do this in my niche? I've already got a website. I'm already selling my product. Is there a way I can actually leverage this? And I think the key thing about one-page websites is it all comes down to how easy ranking a website is now thanks to AI. So these websites would have taken a lot more effort only 3 years ago. Now they take 7 minutes. So a lot of people I've worked with, they're basically going out and building satellite websites to feed into their main brand. So maybe they've got other locations. If it's e-com, you do have to look at the search result because the search result needs to reward this kind of search intent. So if you've actually got product listings ranking on the search result, then it's very likely you can actually register an exact match domain for the product and then send that traffic into your product. So yeah, some businesses, there's nothing wrong with building 20 of these kind of satellite sites to then feed, rank for the individual keywords to then feed traffic into your main e-com brand. I read it. In your case, you could basically have the satellite site and make it its own e-com site. So you check out, and there's no real link between the satellite site and the main website. So on that basis, it's completely clean. Even then, if you had 5 to 10 of these satellite sites, there's not a whole lot of risk there. If you look, people are always concerned about building a PBN if they've got multiple websites. I can't link them together. Look at any major corporation that has multiple brands and multiple websites, and you'll notice they all link together. Some of the big insurance brands I worked with in corporate, I'm talking about big London office, and they were acquiring all these brokers, and they had all these brokers they'd bought in the footer. And this was in my early days, and I was thinking, that's a PBN. You can't link to your own websites. Nothing went wrong. Google understands real businesses do this. It's not a problem.